What's good, fam? It's Tuesdays with Tawana. Oh, what am I doing? Gotta sing my theme song. It's Tuesdays with Tawana. What's going on? This is Dr. Tad, aka Rev T, aka Tawana, your host and your curator for Tuesdays with Tawana, where we build we build community one episode at a time. So grateful to be in the building for our year in review. So grateful to have this opportunity just to chop it up a bit, kind of look back on what we have experienced over this last year. This is episode 102. So we are closing out the year over the 100 mark. And I am so excited and so grateful and just so blessed to have this opportunity to just chop it up for the last time in this setting in 2022. Yes, Smoky Girl, I've been praying for you. I love you so much. I've seen your post, and yes, so we are sending you love and light, and I will remind folk as they come on to continue to send love and light to you. My beloved Robert Bobby Young Sr., amazing black man, amazing family man, amazing baller. Good afternoon, my friend, my dear friend for years. I don't even know how many years it's been now, but I'm so grateful that we get to connect on this platform. Hey, Tony. Yeah, she said we are in here. So what's up, fam? Yes, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, Tony, and thank you. And sometimes we don't need to know the details. We just speak Darlene's name. We speak Smoky Girl's name. We speak life into her family, into her, into those who are around her and her community for what she is going through right now. So sometimes that's why I love our village, because all we got to do is just say my name, or just say a prayer for me, and we lift up prayers and we just do it without questions asked. Hey, Shantae, I love you dearly. What's good? What's good? Cordy O is in the building. Happy belated birthday. Yes, sneaking in before the year ends. Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to do a year in review. And Smoky Girl, I don't know if you see, the prayers are coming in. They are lifting you up, beloved. They are lifting you up. So if you are joining us for the first time, just shout out whatever you want to add to the conversation in the comments, and I'll insert it into this narrative by reading your comments. If you're watching this later via podcast or the replay on Facebook Live, you can comment. I go back and I look to see if there were any comments after the show, and I respond accordingly, because this is about community. Oh yeah, you know I'm gonna get here in a minute. This right here, this right here. Yes, I will talk about that in a moment. Yes. Darlene, aka Smoky Girl, says thank you. So we're gonna keep lifting you up. So yeah, we've been chopping it up for a long time. This is episode 102, right? So before we kind of go through the litany of things that we've talked about, I just want to pause and just honor those in this season. I'm wearing mine in my next photo shoot. Yeah, I'll explain. For those Harlemites that are going to testify about this gem right here, those who aren't Harlemites will get schooled today, and hopefully you'll find the shirt. First of all, but anyway, okay. So we're going to do a year in review. But before we do that, many of you know that I am on break from chemo until the end of January. So I had the awesome opportunity to do some traveling and to connect with some amazing beloveds. I didn't really tell folk where I was going because I was taking care of business and I didn't have a lot of time to really socialize and kind of hang out a bit. But I've been to Denver for a hot second, San Antonio for a full week for the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium. I want to thank Reverend Tammy Denise and Carrie's Touch for creating an opportunity for me to insert my voice into a narrative that often ignores or silences Black women, where Black women are still dying at a 41% higher rate than white women. So I was able to represent Carrie's Touch in the planning phase of our Black Women Speak Symposium the day before the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium. We had about 200 people in the room, another 100 online. This was our first symposium talking about Black women, talking about clinical trials, talking about how doctors treat Black women in particular as it relates to breast cancer. We had patient advocates, we had pharmaceutical companies in there talking about what they can do differently to diversify access to Black people and people of color. Hey, brother, good to see you again. Hint, hint. Yes. So, yes, one day I'm going to come to H-Town. And as a matter of fact, while I was in San Antonio, you know, I'm a sports fan, right? I still don't watch football. Once in a while, if it's on, you know, I'll watch it. But I don't turn it on and watch football. But anyway, I digress. So when I was in San Antonio, shout out to Tammy Denise again for taking me to a basketball game. San Antonio against Houston. And I knew no one on the court because I never see their games. You know, they're not like number one where the Lakers or Golden State is always on prime time. So I didn't know any of the players. They kept trying to dunk. They kept missing. They kept missing layups. And it was just quite boring. I'm sorry to all the Dallas folk out there, but it just was kind of boring. So, but I went and I was so excited because I got to experience, you know, just San Antonio on a different level because we were working very hard in supporting Carrie's Touch and all of their research that they're doing, centering Black women. And this is a quote from Reverend Dr. Tammy Denise. So please, if you're going to use it, quote Reverend Dr. Tammy, Tammie, Denise, Denyse, where she is humanizing the data. We're researchers, but she is humanizing the data. She is putting a pulse on the data so that the data isn't just numbers. It's actually a part of the story that is behind, that undergirds the numbers that are outcomes of the research. So anyway, so I went to Denver, went to San Antonio, went to New York, was in DC, and now I'm home. And this week there is no traveling because I need to get some work done and get some rest. Because the last 2 weeks in December, I am so grateful to work for organizations that truly honor Black women and Black women's rest. And I will be off the last 2 weeks in December. So this will be the last Tuesdays with Tawana for 2022. And then when I come back in 2023, it'll probably be the second week in January that I'll be back because I have some planning, some strategizing to do. I have some traveling to do. So, so just giving you the heads up about that. But I'm so grateful to be healthy enough, to be strong enough, and to wear my mask because COVID is still out there. So I pause to honor those this year who have lost their lives to COVID. It could have and should have been different if we had different leadership in place that got ahead of this, because our former president, Barack Obama, saw this, and his team, his cabinet saw this coming, and mentioned it and said we got to do something about it, and then nothing was done. So now we have so many people who have lost their lives prematurely, unexpectedly, in a worldly sense. We have those who have died, at the hands of heinous behavior with gun violence, with unfortunately mental illness that goes unaddressed. We have lost those to various diseases that tend to impact the Black community in general more so than other communities. So we just hold space for y'all and for us, because during this holiday season it's not easy to have that empty chair, as my brother when he posted for Thanksgiving, he posted a beautiful post about our mother who left this side of life in 1993. And it was just such a beautiful church. It was a beautiful post about an empty chair, and doing ritual around that. So thank you, brother, for sharing what you do to continue to honor Mommy. Tanisha said, I know I digress, but you are really so beautiful, big sister. Thank you. Thank you. So, yes. So, okay. So, did some traveling, and as we honor those that have gone, this year was not an easy year for many of us. Remember, I was in the hospital several months ago with a blood infection for a whole week. The beginning of the year, yeah, and people, succumb to the challenges of blood infections and sepsis, and I'm still here. So all glory to the Most High. We lost my beloved sister, Tina Rose Davis. We speak her name. I not always, but oftentimes you'll see this little rose hanging from my hoop earring. It's a chain with this rose that was on it, so I just took the chain off because I'm not really a big necklace person. And then I oftentimes wear this ring that she gave me years ago, just to keep her with me as much as I can, just to keep her with me. And my brother Larry is throwing up some hearts. So we just honor those, and we stand with those who continue to lose loved ones. I got a call yesterday and was in prayer with someone whose family member was killed. Young, brilliant, beautiful brother, 40-something years old. So we send love and light to that family as well. I was not given permission to say the name, so I will not. But as we said at the beginning of this podcast, that we don't need to know the details. Just open up your heart and lift them up in prayer, and think about that person, and what they're going through and what they need, and in the hopes and prayers that their needs will be met. Comfort will just manifest in ways that are beyond understanding. Peace will manifest in ways that's beyond understanding. That love and community will come together in ways that we don't always have the answers, but just our mere presence creates a space for healing, which is why I talk about healing in community, right? This is what we do. Smoky Girl says, I didn't know you were in the hospital, Sai. You look good today. Are you good? I'm waiting for Big T to call me to pray. Amen. And send Big T my love. Big T is a walking miracle. We prayed for him on Tuesdays with Tawana. He was one of the first people in Denver to get COVID, and he went through a very rough time. He was one of those early cases that it was just very tough, and he's still here, still preaching, still advocating. So much love to you, Big T, out there in Denver doing your thing. So I do want to talk about this year in review, right? But before we go there, I got to talk about this shirt and what this shirt represents. Y'all know I am unapologetically a black girl from Harlem, this black woman, this black womanist, this black mysticist, this I am from Harlem and I represent Harlem. So Gap partnered with Dapper Dan. Now, if you don't know Dapper Dan, you can go to Wikipedia. It's pretty accurate. He was born and raised in Harlem. He's been a designer for a very long time, and really put hip hop fashion on the map. Like he would use Gucci or Louis before like other black companies were emerging. That was our thing. We had designer things, and he would create Gucci jackets, and he did this for the hip hop community, which then extended to the Harlem community, which then expanded nationally and now globally. So he was like Times top 100 most influential person or something. And it's my man from Harlem, Dapper Dan. Like growing up, I couldn't afford Dapper Dan, but I representing just a beautiful human being before his time. Like so many designers, and I see the essence of Dapper Dan just emerging and manifesting in all these different ways that black designers are coming out and being creatives. And he started it. He was born in like early 1940s, so he is a distinguished person. And so Gap partnered with Dapper Dan, and it is hard to find these shirts. Not only is it hard to find these shirts, but check out the Harlem on the bottom. Not all the Dap sweatshirts have Harlem on it. So I'm loving this shirt, and I had to come through today with this Dap Harlem. This girl right here, born in East Harlem, so was Dapper Dan. Shout out to you, Dapper Dan, and all that you do and how you represent black people and how you continue to center black people and you continue to love us and continue to be a creative for us. Yeah, it's quite amazing. I'm honored. He's a trailblazer. He is a trailblazer. Cordio said, I'm going to have to borrow that. Listen, I don't even know where y'all can find it. Online it's like sold out. Don't buy it from, well, no, I don't tell y'all what to do, but I strongly suggest that you not go to like Poshmark and all that, because they want to charge you $300. I mean, it's an expensive shirt, but it's not $300. So don't do it. Wait until it's released. Just like the Telfar bags, when they say it's dropping on Monday or whatever, and you got to sit in front of your computer. Wait until Dapper Dan creates some more stuff and drops it. Yeah, we riding with that for sure. This is what we doing. So, yeah. So shout out to Harlem. Shout out to all those that just are doing amazing things from the projects. Me, Wagner Projects. I think Dapper Dan grew up on 129th in Lexington. Y'all know my brain, so don't quote me on it. Just go to the Wikipedia page and find out more about him. But shout out to him. So what a beautiful way to close out the year with centering Harlem and loving on Harlem. And it was just so good going into stores that are, black businesses, supporting black entrepreneurs and black creatives. And from clothing to journals to cards to trinkets to jewelry to glasses to everything. You blackity black, black, black. Everything. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go on to Pink Robe Chronicles website because Reverend Dr. Melva Sampson has a shirt that is Womanist AF. And we've done shows about womanism and how womanism creates a space for us to be free, to love ourselves, to love our bodies as we are, to move as we are inspired to move, to speak our truth, to show up unapologetically, and to say that I am an unapologetic, beautiful, divine Black woman. And it doesn't mean that because I uplift the Black people in the Black diaspora, it doesn't mean that I decenter others. Just because I'm proud to be Black doesn't mean I hate my BIPOC beloved, or I dislike them, or I'm demeaning them and saying that I'm better than, right? We've talked about this on the show. We've talked about stop killing us, when there was just a string of law enforcement killing unarmed Black beloveds. We talked about that on the show. We've talked about breast cancer, of course. We talked about domestic violence. We talked about healing in community. We've talked about celebrations. We've cried together. We've laughed together. We've done all of these things. We've talked about voting. We talked about not voting. We talked about what you can do in lieu of voting. We've talked about how to agree to disagree. And still honor someone's stance or what informs them to make the decisions that they make. We've talked about loving in community. We talked about the importance of community. We've talked about mental wellness. We talked about oh my gosh, we talked about so much. We had a special episode on Black men, just to show, like, I am a Black woman, so I speak from my experience. And I raised a Black son. I was raised by a beautiful Black father, so I can speak from my experiences in relation with Black men and the not so good experiences. But then we take those not so good experiences and we learn from them. We learn the lessons. We have that Sankofa moment where we look back on those things and take what is good, take what I have learned, take the life-giving stuff and bring it forward so that I can move in a way that I don't continue to repeat the trauma that has happened, or the abuse that has happened, or things that were trying to dehumanize me. We don't take that with us. We bury that. We bring forth that which is life-giving. Go back and fetch it, right? Sankofa. Go back and fetch it. Fetch what? Fetch what is life-giving. Fetch what is inspiring. Fetch the resilience of our ancestors and those that have gone before us. Go back and fetch our spiritual prowess, our African traditional religions. Go back before we were colonized. Let's not follow the colonizer's language and the colonizer's religion and the colonizer's behavior with capitalism and racism and sexism. Is we during this year we lifted up the LGBTQIA plus community. Just to say, I see you, I hear you, I love you. And supporting how difficult it is to show up in this authentic space when this nation doesn't even, or the leadership in this nation doesn't even honor and respect themselves. So of course, that spills over into our world, and unfortunately we are the ones that have to deal with the heinous responses and projection and heinous activity and behavior against us just because of the color of our skin. We talked about colorism. Growing up, I was teased as a dark-skinned woman. I was teased because my hair wasn't a certain way, or I didn't have the body that was, sexualized. Not that that was the goal, but I was teased because of that. So we talked about those things. We talked about existing in this double consciousness, right? And sometimes even a triple consciousness. I believe it was either Dr. Emily Towns or Kimberly Crenshaw that talks about this triple consciousness, where not only, am I living in this world looking through another lens, which is a white lens, but then being a woman on top of that, and having those challenges. We've talked about Black cultures, right? Having certain beliefs about, what goes on in this house stays in this house, or calling cancer the big C, or, not sharing our hurts or our trauma or a family history of sexual abuse or molestation. And we've talked about how silence harms us. It causes harm. And how do we work through that? And not saying that, you have to just tell all of your business. There's a time and a place for everything. And sometimes your community, we've talked about your community, it can be very small and intimate, or it can be very large. I tend to live out loud, but that doesn't mean that I want everybody to live the same way that I live. You choose how God is calling you to show up in this world. And it might be one-on-one conversations with folk. It might be sharing these innermost thoughts and feelings and past ills and celebrations with your immediate family. Whatever that is, I think we've talked about just not keeping it inside, because that's what illnesses feed off of, which is why I have to protect my energy. I protect my energy because I don't need cancer to feed off of any type of negative or adverse things going on in my world. I need cancer. I need that positive energy to keep fighting the cancer and to keep the cancer at bay, which is why I am continuing to experience no evidence of disease. So it's a combination of love from the community, prayers from the communities, God's divine healing, God's divine provision through medication, through the great doctors that I have, through their awareness for my body to take a break, because my platelets were just like, I quit. I don't want to do this no more. And my platelets just wouldn't rise high enough for me to continue treatment. So they gave my body a break, because platelets, stop bleeding, and internal bleeding is scary because you don't know. Oh, my baby is on. Eli and I are tuned in. We def protecting our energy, but did miss the part when you said our DAP hoodie is in the mail. Y'all know this is my daughter, right? This is my diva. She said she missed the part where her DAP hoodie was in the mail. Sorry, I pulled up the wrong one. Yeah. We'll talk about that, beloved. I love my children. Y'all know Darylyn just gave birth to beautiful Eli. He is just as feisty as he wants to be. Ethan is now 13 and just growing into it and becoming such a beautiful young man. No, he's not perfect. Let me not paint that picture. And his beauty, I still call him my angel on earth. His brilliance, his creativity definitely outweighs the 13-year-old shenanigans. Like not keeping your room clean, Ethan. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to put all your business on the street, okay? But we've talked about, having children and motherhood, and how being a mother is defined in different ways. Like you can either give birth, you can adopt, you can raise someone. You don't necessarily have to be shamed through, like people will ask, well, when are you going to have kids? That is so rude. Don't ask that. That's like saying, oh, you've gained or lost so much weight. It's none of your business. Think about what you have to say before you say it. Is what you're going to say life-giving? Is it affirming? Is it truthful? Right? So none of that has anything to do with you asking my business about why am I gaining so much weight? Or why doesn't someone have children? So we've talked about those things as well. Tanisha said, hi, Darylyn and Eli. Oh, Tanisha got her mail yesterday and cried. So we know that my daughter and her partner had a beautiful baby shower, and then that night my daughter had to go into the hospital. So just, she's such a creative, my daughter. She's an amazing event planner. She's an amazing master level educator who is burnt out, by the way. And we've talked about paying teachers. We talked about paying teachers what they are worth. And here we have all these billionaires. And I was just having a conversation about how sports players are paid so much money to entertain, and teachers can't even make a livable wage. Help me. The math ain't mathing, right? It's just not mathing at all. So Tanisha said, nah, walk in the ministry of the hush. Yeah, we got to talk more about that. Yes, Darlene and Darylyn. Yes, so similar. Darlene says she loves the name. So we talked about so much this year, but I think the common link was community. The common link was unconditional, positive regard. The common link was Ubuntu. I am because you are. The common link was building community one episode at a time, as we avoid conforming to the capitalist, white supremacist, white power, racist ills of this nation, and we begin to dismantle and build. We don't have to wait for someone else to do it for us. We are not only capable, we are brilliant, we are divine, we are magical, we are mystical, we are creators, we are co-creators, and we can do this. We can change the narrative. We just got to come together and make that happen. And it's not contingent upon your educational level. It's not contingent upon how much money you make. It is about having a dialogue and being able to exchange our experiences, what informs our experiences, and then opening up our hearts and our minds and our souls to other experiences. So growing up in Wagner Projects was a different experience. Although it was the first place that I experienced community, it was also during the time of the crack epidemic and gang violence and other things that were going on. And yet, even in that experience, because my parents were the loving parents that they were, they exposed me to other communities, other opportunities, other educational opportunity, other artsy opportunities, so that I didn't have this narrow view of life. There is so much more out there. As Eric is, living in Dubai and traveling right now, there's so much more, different foods, different languages, different approaches to life. He is just living and experiencing such beautiful things, and we have that opportunity as well. We don't have to go to Dubai, which I'm going, but we don't have to go to Dubai to experience these things. Some people have never even been out of their community. There were some people that never left Harlem, never left Wagner Project, so didn't even know that in the next borough that there were houses and grass. We didn't, we lived in the concrete jungle. Some people never went to another state where it never snows, or, whatever. Just this is about building community and loving each other unconditionally and supporting one another and inserting our voices into narratives that often try to silence us or ignore us or demean us or degrade us. And we're just not having it. We're not having it. So I encourage you as we end this episode in 2022, I encourage you to continue to love yourself with unconditional positive regard so that you can teach others how to love you, and you can, love others without having to pour from an empty cup. You can continue to fill yourself up with love and grace and mercy and have it for yourself, so that in turn you can have it for others, and have that. I get teased all the time with these big words, but they're important because I love Paolo Freire, right? I love Pedagogy of the Oppressed, when he talks about this epistemological curiosity. It's a curiosity of knowing. Like, how are you informed? How do you know what you know? Right? How did you become who you became, and who are you becoming? What are your hopes and your dreams? So I offer you to dream big, to mourn the losses and to celebrate the gains from those losses, because sometimes losses happen, doors close in order for something else great to come along. We lose people in life because whatever your belief is, their time is up, or there's something to be taken away from that, to allow that legacy, to allow that person to continue to live and to teach us from the ancestral realm. There is something to be learned, to fight for. If there are injustices, there's so many opportunities. So as we leave 2022, think back on, mourn what you need to mourn, cry what you need to cry about, feel all the feels, and look forward. It's that Afrofuturism, seeing yourself in the future. That's what we all want. We don't want to see ourselves and our whole family is gone, or I'm gone. I want to live as long as I am called to add value and add love, on this side of life. So, beloveds, I truly thank you for continuing to be with me, and to just be a part of this community, Tuesdays with Tawana. I hope that we will continue to build and grow and just love one another and be the best that we can be in this world, without anyone else trying to define us. So what better way to close this moment than with Audre Lorde? If I don't define myself, I will be crunched into other people's fantasies and eaten alive. So let us define ourselves as the beautiful human beings, Black beloveds that we are, and showing up unapologetically and authentically. Bobby says, keep doing what you're doing, and may you and your families stay safe and blessed. We ride together, we die together. TWT for life. What a great way to end. I love y'all dearly. Much love during this season, this holiday season, or this time to spend with family or vacation, whatever it is deemed, whatever you call it. Take care of you, rest, enjoy, laugh, let all this Black joy just emerge, and I will see you in 2023, and we will continue to build community one episode at a time. This is Dr. Tad with Tuesdays with Tawana, and I am so grateful for this platform, and I look forward to seeing you in 2023. I'm out. Peace.